Hello YouTube, and in this video I'm going to be showing you some of the basics of the railroad system. So right now we're in the creative world. So essentially when it comes to the railroads, it is a preferred means of transport whenever you're going to the same point multiple times. There are other competing means of transportation like boats, horses, as well as some of the enhancements from those beacon altars. But compared to those, this is a very good means of travel, especially if you're trying to transport multiple mobs. So let's get into the initiation zone here, where we have a button that does power up those rails. And then we do have a dispenser here, where at the touch of button, it will pop one up. And then we're going to be traveling very quickly onto the brake system up ahead. So that button, it is automatic. Now on this brake system here, we do have a crevice in the ground where we do have the unpowered rails act as a braking system. So in order to power it up again, you can hit the button momentarily, or with the lever you can hit it indefinitely until you switch it off. Now when it comes to these carts here, it's very important to position yourself, because if you have too much momentum and you go too far, that backwards momentum will take you backwards. And then going forward here, as long as you're on this half of the crevice, you can actually go forward. Now, when it comes to the power rails, next to a stone block here, just like that dispenser, it does act as a kickback mechanism. So one way to prevent that is to have this guy here, which is a mine cart with the furnace. As soon as you power it up with coal by right clicking, it will move in the direction where you're facing. When it comes to the corners in 1.9, it's not very fast compared to some of the inclines, but it will keep on moving until it has exhausted its either its momentum or its fuel. So let's see this in action. So with this guy, we're gonna stop it. It's gonna keep on pushing it towards the very end. Another means to stop any automatic travel in a certain direction is to have this guy here, which is the detector rail. As soon as you put a cart on it, it does power up. It does that momentarily, but once it hits the rail back here, it won't move unless you were to activate it again. Okay, so just to repeat, this is the two-way intersection. Over here we have the three-way intersection, where in the middle we have the unpowered rail. With the click of the switch here, we can change the direction. It's a little bit harder to determine which direction it is. This will have it go forward. Over here, this guy will go right. That will go forward. So we do have some buttons here which will power up all three of them. If you guys can notice the difference, the wooden button lasts half a second longer than stone buttons, so I do favor them. The way that the circuitry works is that this guy will power up that guy, and then it will also power up the guy back here, which will snake all the way around onto the other side. So let me show you how this works here. Using my forward momentum with the movement button, your W, I'm going to change direction here. And I'm going to move on to the next point. So this is a four-way intersection that was developed by Magma-Musen. His link is shown down below. I do have a diagram off to the side here. to help you guys study this. But essentially, whenever you're developing the railroad system within the circle track, I have had to use the redstone torch, which will change your position here. So let me change that back. Okay, so let's see how this works. So with the forward progress on this gravity, we're going to move forward. And then with our own inertial momentum, we're going to move along the merry-go-round here by facing forward. If we want to head out, like the way we came in, what we do is that we go past this point here, and then we backtrack here. We can also do that quickly by moving here, coming to a complete stop, and then changing directions with your arrow keys. So I've shown you this guy before, but what's different this time is that we do have some redstone repeaters, which will delay the signal here for a couple of tenths of a second. So this is very useful whenever you're going down this rail quickly. Without it, it can slow you a little bit. But whenever it comes to some of the costs of getting these redstones, I found that the fortune pickaxe does pick up a lot of materials. Okay, so this is the last rail. This is called the activator rail, which does have different functions depending on which type of cart you have. With the TNT, it will activate it. With the hopper, it will pick up any drop items. And then with any regular mine cart, it will drop you off to the side. So this can be a very pertinent means of dropping off villagers and then controlling their movements. What we would need to do is create a wooden gate right above the cart system. So whenever you're in the cart, you can actually move forward and back underneath the gate. And it's actually a very efficient means of moving from one area to the next. Okay, so let's go on to the next point here. When it comes to moving these villagers, we do have a drop zone here that was developed by KillerDave15. That ladder will break its fall so that it doesn't take any damage. Basically, we have a vertical dispenser right up here, and then we do have some buttons and circuitry that will control that, as well as the piston simultaneously. So let's see it in action. So it's going to push him along this piston. Right now it's full, so it's going to be giving him some pushback. That's okay, as long as we have a pocket of air right there, and then half a slab back here. It won't cause any suffocation damage. Some people have actually created some pretty neat elevator designs with this. But the main reason why I have this piston pusher is because we're unable to create any rails on transparent blocks. So that's why I had to deal with some of my building designs in the survival world. I believe I've shown you this non-continuous circuit. If not, let me demonstrate it. So once we have this fully powered, we're going to break the signal, and then we're going to time this correctly so that it can give us a non-continuous signal, which will reduce the chance of any pushback. So with this activator rail, let me show you how this system works. The beauty of this is that the villager can actually be pretty close to this and it will still function. Of course, I would need to change direction. So let's try that again. So that will drop the villager off into the fence area. and then this guy will go into our loading bay for unused carts, which will essentially save it since we have carts underneath it. So that's pretty much it for the creative aspect here. I'm going to show you how all these carts techniques will be used in the survivor world. Welcome back, YouTube, and right now we're in the city in the survivor world. So let me show you the railroad system I've developed here under one of the houses. Basically, this guy does extend throughout the middle of the city. So to the right we have the one of the drop-off points, and then to the left we have the rest of the system. So let's get on moving. Behind us there was a tripwire which can be used to move any unoccupied carts onto the side. But let's move on to the primary objective here. What we're going to do here at this particular intersection is that we're going to be bringing in villagers from one section of the city off to this side here. With the fencing, this will keep them in, but basically this is where we're going to be pushing them along. So we're going to be bringing in a pack of up to 5 of them. If I have enough carts. Let's move on to the other side of the tracks. But basically what we're going to do is that we're going to have a set path with redstone torches along the way. That way we can make sure that the mobs will go to their intended direction, since they can't actually control where they're moving. So let's move on over here. Looks like we have enough. So somewhere they're relatively close, they should be able to pick them up. Okay. So let's move them along here. There might be some choice editing. Looks like there was already some pushback. Okay, so let's push them all the way along the side. And actually push them to the position that we're facing. So that's going to take them all the way back towards our drop zone. This is not as fast as I thought it would be, but we're going to be improving the system here in the future. There we go. Now that's going to push them all the way up over here. It will take some time though, but essentially they will all be pushed along this axis. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video.